And we're back with some more oxygen not included on Rime. I've got a bit of free time, so I want to take care of some things I've been putting on the long finger, and I'll do them very, very, very quickly. And the first one is I want to start clearing out some of this gunk on the map. It's just taking up space. So maybe a quick vanishing act on this is called for. Done. All finished. I'm even going to double layer my sweet wheat farm, though I don't really think I need to. With that all done, I'll get around to cleaning it later. Well, doing the sweeping up. I think it's time we took care of this as well. And also done. So now that those two are out of the way, that just leaves this sort of mess and gunk over here that I need to take care of. With that all taken care of, well, not quite all taken care of, but yeah, I'll do a little bit of cleaning up down there. That petroleum boiler is turning out to be quite useful for making sure my power requirements are met. That only leaves a little bit of digging left to do, and that would be the space biome. I think I'll start on the left side here, and what I'll do is I'll cover the top in bunker doors. It's a little bit complicated trying to work through the storms, but so far we've managed to clean out quite a bit of this place. Let's maybe speed that up a bit. Yeah, so this should hopefully get that all covered off, and then I can start extracting all of these shovels that are in here and start putting them into my shovel farm, which I may want to move. But no. First, we're just going to finish off this bunker protection. Bunker protection in place. This whole area is sealed off. We've excavated everything out. We'll sweep it later. For right now, I just want to get around to maybe doing the right side as well. I need to clean up this side and bunker tile over here so I've got protection, and excavate out all the gunk over this side too. With that completed, that is the last of all the digging done, and there's a break in the space-time continuum. That's, shovel got in there again. But that's everything. That's all of that excavated, everything cleaned out. I even demolished the Gravitas building. I have the mod that allows you to demolish, all the Gravitas stuff and pretty much anything. I'm pretty sure you can demolish the entry entropy nullifiers if you want. I don't really have a use for them, but I'll leave them there. I might eventually find a use for them at a later date. But I think that is everything. Now it's just time to do a major sweep. I want this all gone so there's no more liquids or liquefiable materials. I keep ending up with things defrosting and then dropping down into my oil biome. No more. I am going to do a giant sweep. I'm going to get rid of the whole lot of it, and then we will have a perfectly clean map to work with no chances of anything liquefying just randomly on its own around the map. That should mean that my oil biome, I can finally just, leave it the way it is, or the way it was meant to be. Also, I just realized I can just demolish all of this. The only reason half of this stuff is here is, I think that is that's my supercoolant collection pit. Okay, that's a terrible thing, but any supercoolant that was left lying around the map, it ends up getting swept in here. The pump picks it up and dumps it into this liquid reservoir, which I can demolish later for my supercoolant storage. You know what? I think I have some supercoolant left up here at my liquid locks. So, yeah, let's just have a quick sweep on that. So that stuff all there is the supercoolant. Oh, there's a break right there. I'm going to have to repair that. And there's another one there. There's two breaks in those liquid locks. I'm going to have to fix those up. The only downside to this little storage system is there's only one bottle empty on it. I could probably put in a second, but it does mean they only come along occasionally, drop off a little bit of supercoolant. It gets swept up, dumped into that, and I demolish it when I'm done. The other thing I use for just taking care of stuff that randomly ends up around the map is Viscogel. Those Viscogel liquid locks, eventually, you end up having to mop them or get rid of them, or a mistake happens and you have to mop them up. I let it all dump here. If I had that actually over another one more tile, it should land exactly where the Viscogel comes out. But all of that done, it's time to start space. Oh, damn, zooming. I'm thinking we stick in a quick solar section over here, just one, so we can get a scanner up and running, and then we can start running regular rockets. Oh, that was cool, was it? Yeah, when they vent that, you can see the bubbles coming out of it. Pity. I was missed. You've got a video. You can go back and watch it if you want. We'll stick in, just our standard, we'll go with standard regolith removal. And this is my standard regolith removal build. I've been looking around and keeping an eye out for a new one to maybe replace this or anything updated or just something that, maybe something a little bit more efficient. But as far as I can tell, this one still works great and it's very convenient to build. A lot of the other ones, they have very weird diagonal patterns where you have to go through to build them. This one, I just like it for its simplicity. I'm going to put in 3 scanners as well. 2 scanners is all you need to get perfect so that you won't ever end up smashing your bunker doors. But I'll go with 3 because this gives me 16 bunker doors worth of sky to work with. And I think down here we'll throw in some solar panels as well when the time comes. So I'm going to have to do an inverted one here. We'll figure that out when the time comes. For the time being, my dupes will just take care of that. And we might want to start demolishing these. These things are still running on oxalite, if I recall. Are they? Yeah, oh, there's still oxalate going to all of these. We don't really even care about the oxalate falling out, but I think those will have to be decommissioned. Oh, and we're also going to have to hook this up to the power grid. Anyway, I'll fast forward this until most of this is constructed. Oh, another thing to note, I disabled the auto repair on all of these buildings. Well, back when I was doing the achievement run, I didn't want to be repairing these ladders all the time. So I manually went through each one of them and disabled auto repair. I couldn't find a hotkey for it. That was very time consuming. I was going to start repairing them. Now, you get a debuff to your movement speed crossing broken ladders. So broken ladders mean your duplicates will move slower across them, but it was less time consuming than repairing them constantly. But now I want to actually replace them, fix them. So instead of going through, I just overwrote them with new ladders. That seems to have fixed the disabled auto repair. So yeah, that's just a quick way of getting rid of mass disabled auto repair. Just replace over it with a different material. Though, that is mafic rock. That'll melt the moment a rocket exhaust hits it. We can fix that later. Oh, and I'm going to have to run a power cable over here. You know what? Let's start measuring out where the solar is going to go. The solar is going to have to go beneath this, down here somewhere, and we need to leave a 15-tile gap between this and the solar. The scanners will interfere with the solar panels, I believe. Well, all of this has been going on. I thought I'd run the power spine over there. So I've built a little power spine through this section over here. Oh, I missed a spot. Running it off the core that goes all the way down to our cryo brick power plant. And I've dumped it up here. But then I realized I also need to run up some power for the doors, the miners, all that stuff. So we need to put in some transformers, but we need to provide cooling for the transformers. So I got to thinking, well, you don't technically need cooling, you just need to keep the temperature below a certain amount and have it regulated. So for that, we're going to use this crude oil. This crude oil is going to keep constantly flowing at 3.333 kilos per second. Constantly. It's always going to be, I think it's 80 or 90 degrees. I can't even remember. However, it's going to be well below the temperature of steel or gold amalgam. So what we can do is we can get power transformers. We can make them out of gold. Gold or steel would do. I actually have more steel than gold. I think I'll use the steel then. So let's just put, just stick 3 of them there, I suppose is fine. Then what we'll have to do is run a power wire up there. I'm thinking this giant power spine could just run all the way across here. Oh, is that gold? Nope, I do not want to use gold for this. This place is going to be out of the way. No one's going to be coming around here very often, so we can cancel all of that. Lead the whole way, thank you very much. And now, I don't want to go... Yeah, I don't want to cross wires with that just yet. Though I think I'm going to have to get this out of the way for a little bit, just until I get that main wire up there. Let's maybe... Yeah, do a little chicane around like that, and maybe replace the bricks on the side. There we go. That's the power spine comes up here, runs into these 3 transformers. Those 3 transformers are going to run 3 2-kilowatt wires that are going to go up here and provide all the power for this solar array thing up here. Though we're going to run the power wires and then maybe seal this up a little more to get some better insulation going on. What do we got? Lead? Yeah. So we'll just run them all up like this. It should be fairly straightforward. Oop. Well, except for that, which never happened. Boom. So that gives us 3 power wires to draw on. Now, you may be wondering why I've got these solar panels like that. I'm trying to remember exactly how far I have to place them away from the scanners. I believe it's 15 tiles, so it should be right about there. That should be good enough. But I left the other 2 in just to see if I'm going to get any interference. First, of course, I have to hook up power. That will take a minute or 2. So let's skip forward a bit while we get all our wiring in position. Well, we've run power up here. It's ugly, but I can tidy that up later. We've also got automation wires set up. We'll just hook that up now. I haven't got any cooling put in for the mining drills just yet, but they'll last a while. They're made out of steel, so I'll have a bit of time to worry about getting that in later. Now, I just want to see if this is going to be getting any interference from the solar panels down here. I think it should get a tiny bit of interference from this one, but the rest of them it should be fine with. Would you look at that? 100% scan quality. So I can move that up a tile? You know what? Let's move that up a tile and make sure that is... I'm pretty sure these do cause interference. You know what? Let's put one right there just to make sure they do cause interference. Maybe they've patched this out because it's been a while since I've tested this. Yeah, no, solar panels definitely still affect scan quality. That just dropped to 36%. Okay, let's just make sure how high can we go. We'll put one right now. Why won't it allow me to place there? Ladder. Yes, okay, we will work around that. This will take 2 seconds, and then we'll cut back in with a new solar panel. Little bit of a delay in the testing due to an unforeseen meteor shower. However, I think we should be able to know in 1 second how this works. Yeah, we had it right the last guess. So it turns out it has to be down exactly the 15 tiles. So that hasn't changed in the slightest. Still a little bit weird. Where is it? Yeah, 15 tiles. It needs to be exactly 15 to it. It needs to be 15 tiles from the base, or base to base, you're looking at, say, 16 tiles. Whatever way you want to think of it in your own head. I know I keep having to go back and check my old videos to see how things work, but this time around I was like, no, I'll just wing it. Yeah, so we'll replace that there. Oh, no, I'm going to have to deconstruct a lot of these, and we're going to have to try and figure out how we're going to fit in our solar here. I don't really need the solar, but it seems like a waste now that I've bothered to access the sky. Oh, and I better put in power for this as well. This is my attempt at solar. Well, you can ignore that one there. That one there I'm going to delete after a while. Some of them are covering each other or blocking off light so that they only get partial light. That's intentional. And the way it's designed is if you get full light on a solar panel. There's been several threads, Reddit discussions, everything, all sorts of things on this. And it has been determined that if you let a solar panel, if you just put them in a flat line, you don't get the maximum amount of power out of them. The reason being, say, right here, this one's at, was it 320? Oh, it's going 335, 318. Why is it going down? Oh, it's coming up at nighttime. Well, before it hits peak light, all of these will max out if they're all completely exposed to the light. So if you just block off half of them, they won't ever max out during the day, and you'll manage to squeeze every single last drop of power out of the sunlight. It's not a huge difference, but for zigzagging things at the top of the map where you already have lots of space and you're probably not going to be using it for anything else, it seems like a small price to pay. Oh, and also as well as that, we put in our big power spine here. We've connected that up as well. Well, it hasn't been finished built yet, but once our duplicants get around to finishing all of that, we should have a nice reasonable... why is that not deconstructed yet? That's starting to annoy me. You know what? Put a little ladder segment there. They'll take care of that. Oh, and we've now got a telescope up and running. I just have to put some oxygen into it. And what else was there? Ah, yes. I want to run up a second power wire. The second power wire is going to go... 1 second. I was sloppy. This should go like that. That makes far more sense. That just leaves me with more room for the next 2 power wires. I have 2 more power wires down here that are going to end up powering other pieces of equipment on this side. And there we have it. A fully operational solar array, just so I could get some space scanners up so I could do some decent rocketry. I did up a tutorial on this a long time ago, and I don't think any of the mechanics have really changed. It's just a case of, to get these scanners up, you need to clear the regolith. To clear the regolith, you need to do all of this. And to do it all automated, you then need to put in a cooling solution, which I still haven't got around to yet. Those drills will eventually overheat, but it'll take 100 or 200 cycles. So I think I'll start on getting some rockets up over here. I think, 3 or 4 rockets. Just get a small rocketry program together, just so we can get enough supercoolant to do our deep dish rocket silo. To make this rocket program a reality, I'm going to need some... liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen. I'm not going to be faffing about with steam at this point. You've got all the tech we need. So I'm going to hollow out a bit of an area here and put in our liquid oxygen, liquid hydrogen production facility. I was going to try and squeeze it in here, but there's just not enough room. And I don't want to put it down here because you need so much room for these rockets. We need about 50 tiles. And then you got to worry about rocket exhaust and all sorts of stuff. So I can't really place it down here either. So I want to place it in here underneath the solar so it's out of the way of that. At the same time, I've... put in some gas pumps so we can save most of that hydrogen. All of the hydrogen, probably not. I'm a little impatient, but we'll strip most of that out. I think we got most of the hydrogen. Small loss. Considering the amount of hydrogen we've got on this map, not too worried. Yeah, that cloud is starting to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Reason being, there's also a hydrogen vent down here adding its hydrogen, which you can slowly see sort of percolating up to the top of the map. So, quick liquid oxygen, liquid hydrogen setup right here. It's going to be very similar to the one we built for the achievement run. We don't really need it for much, just to get us the basics of, the basic resources from space we need to get lots of supercoolant. Just for giggles, it turns out there was some bleachstone in there, and now this room is full of chlorine, and I have to put back in the gas pumps to actually remove the chlorine. One of the wonderful joys of working in Oxygen Not Included. They will always find ways to mess you up. So I had a perfect vacuum that I then destroyed with chlorine. Oh well. It's just, you can try leaving this to vent into the vacuum of space, but it is incredibly slow. You can see there it's 150 milligrams mcg, and it's going down really, really slowly. It will take forever for this place to vacuum out, never mind the bottom pieces. A couple of gas pumps, give it a cycle, this whole thing should be a complete vacuum. Well, this is slowly vacuuming out. We're already starting to get there. I should point out I had to reinstall the telescope and put one up here so I could start scanning the stars, namely because there's still a bunch of planets I never examined. We didn't need them for the achievement run, so there's, I think, 6 planets left. Yeah, 6 stellar bodies, planets, whatever you want to call them out there, that we still have to examine. But once that's done, we can then stop running one of these and disable it. But on the bright side, it'll give our science people more science. Oh, great! Seriously, you know what? I'm just going to keep building up the liquid oxygen, liquid hydrogen facility. The chlorine will dissipate on its own eventually. To really compound my stupidity on this particular run, I decided to put in a heavy watt joint plate here to let in power, effectively so I could get the power across here to power these two aqua tuners. However, at the same time, that split-second gap let in some hydrogen. Yeah, now I'm back to the same place I was before. I have to wait till this deck goes down to 2 mcg before it starts to dissipate. So, yeah, see the way there's 3,000 something? I'm going to have to stick in more gas pumps just to get rid of... never mind. When filling up our little steam chamber here for this device, I've put in a layer of petroleum at the bottom. This is to do with more heat conservation than anything else. When you dump water down into a steam area, what will happen is the water will displace the steam and it causes a heat deletion effect. So what you want to do is have a layer of petroleum at the bottom. The water comes down here, it pushes the petroleum out of the way, then it flashes to steam, and then you don't get any heat loss. There was a whole video on this and a thread on the forums by Tony Advanced Oni. So just if you're doing anything involving steam turbines now and you want to conserve as much heat as possible, well, that's assuming you're trying to conserve heat. In some instances, you're just trying to destroy it. In this instance, I do want to recycle the steam so I get more energy back from it. Then in that case, make sure you have a layer of petroleum at the bottom. As well as that, I am now just putting in some brine, and then I'm going to throw in some salt water on top of this as well. Just, yep, that's going to be, yeah, just so I can force out all the gas out of here. Oh, wait, there is no gas in here. What am I doing? I could just put in clean water. Actually, you know what? I'm committed right now. I forgot I was working in a vacuum and I just straight back to old habits. That is so cool the way that works. I used to worry about flooding those, but it turns out completely unfloodable. Now, get that to sweep. Yeah, there we go. We have a completely sealed storage container. And we've got, what, 800 kilos of water. It all works out. It's fine. Or 400 kilos of water, 200 kilos of petroleum. All works out about right. And then we'll just sweep up the gunk. Oh, before that goes in, I should sweep up what's in there. It's starting to look like we're about to ready to fire this up. Well, one thing we do have to do is I have to fill this room full of hydrogen and start the hydrogen cooling loop. There's going to be a hydrogen cooling loop that comes down here and touches off this oxygen so that we can siphon some of the heat out of here. Now that I think about it, you know, we should... Oh, wrong button. We should get a temp shift plate pushing right up against that. I really want to force the temperature into that sidewall. Normally what you do here is you don't touch the sidewalls because you're worried about injecting heat into the tiles. But in this instance, we don't really care. We're in a vacuum of space, so we don't have to care about that. Oh, and to fill up the loop, I'm trying something a little bit different. Normally, I fill the room with hydrogen, and then I fill the loop afterwards. But I'm going to try and use the loop to fill the hydrogen and be a loop at the same time. It might not work very well, but sometimes you just want to try something new just to see if it will work. How are we looking on the power front on that? Yeah, perfect. That just lined up exactly where we needed it to be. Gas pipe. That should be all we need to do. Boom. One of the joys of having this entire area surrounded in hydrogen is I can just siphon some off from my cooling loop. It won't take that much. We just need 2 kilos of pressure in here and then, whatever, fill up the gas pipes with a little bit of hydrogen there. And there we go. It all starts up. Up here you'll see we've got radiant gas pipes made of steel. Once this room is full, the gas should continue on, go all the way around and just start circling round and round while touching off this liquid oxygen tank just to cool down the hydrogen. That should cool down our steam turbine so our steam turbine never overheats. And if you think, well, what happens if you start up the hydrogen side first and don't start up the oxygen first? Yeah, don't do that. Yeah, just don't. Do the oxygen side first, otherwise we'll have problems. I think, has that filled the room? Yeah, that seems to have worked. Once that overpressurized, the hydrogen just keeps going. I think that's a very handy way to do that. I'm going to steal that idea for future use. And well, that's that all done. We can deconstruct that. Boom. Alright, now next up we need to feed in the oxygen. For oxygen, now this I did off screen. I did lots of stuff off screen, to be honest, in this playthrough so far. There's this pipe along here. This goes all the way down, and feeds into our second Rodriguez. So our second Rodriguez is yeah, got a whole kilo of oxygen dedicated towards going up to space and feeding this space scanner. However, let's maybe do some minor modifications here so that we can siphon some oxygen off of that. I still want that space scanner. I just don't really need it to be as... I don't need it to have all of that oxygen. Ta-da! There we go. All of the oxygen comes over here. That's going to feed into this. Well, once we're finished a few minor little modifications. One thing we've done is we've hooked up a gas shutoff right there, just so that we can turn on and off the gas as needs be. At the same time, for power, I'm just putting in a temporary little power shutoff. Like, this transformer's been here, so I might as well use it. So I'm using that transformer to feed power into this area. I also haven't locked the doors yet, so I'm not turning anything on until we've got this all swept up, everything cleaned out, and it's ready to start functioning. Oh, that reminds me, we also got to put in supercoolant, don't we? There's always something I forget. I think we'll put in a quick supercoolant pool over here. A quick pool of supercoolant right there. Dropped off by a couple of bottle emptiers. I still find it hilarious that we drop off supercoolant in bottle emptiers. Plumbing wise, we're just going to... Come on, give me a liquid bridge. We'll show that on there. Done. That should allow us to fill up that loop. Once that loop is... Oh, I checked my previous videos, and it's minus 255 for the hydrogen setting and above minus 90 for the... minus 190 for the liquid oxygen settings. I still have to go back and keep looking those up. I can never remember them for the life of me. And there we go. Loop starts going. Boom, 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 boom. Oh. Right. Yeah, I forgot something. Guess what I've forgotten. The liquid output for the steam turbine. Crap. I'm going to have to think about how I'm going to fix this mess. Because to break back in there again, I have to... Yeah, I'm going to let out all the hydrogen if I do. I need to stop this. Yeah, I don't want to be throwing any more heat in there just yet. Yeah, I'm going to lose all the hydrogen that's in there. Oh well, it's not the end of the world. So we'll just crack that open. We'll crack that open, and yeah, we'll sort this out now. Oh, this was not the worst thing in the world. I also realized I forgot to put in the overflows on the aquatuners. There's so many things to remember with these builds. I mean, okay, you've got to remember all the automation, so you've got to put in your automation wires. You've got to make sure you've got your 2 hydro sensors, one for the liquid pumps, one for the gas shutoffs. And then at the same time, you've got to make sure all the other stuff gets done. I always forget something. Let's see. You go like that. Yeah, you go like that. That should be enough to finish the system. Have I forgotten anything else? I have no idea. Probably. There's a good chance I have. But for the time being, we're going to assume I haven't. We'll finish these off. There we go. And we'll just hook those up like that. Though we might want to cancel the... yeah, it tries to overwrite them if you're not careful there. Oopsie. Sweep up the last of the gunk. And I think we're ready to finally fire this up. Thankfully, I left that hydrogen pump down there so we can quickly fill back up the loop and get back to, well, business as usual. Steam generator's idle, the water's cool. You know what? We'll put that to above again and we'll start our cooling. Yeah, this should be up and running long before that cooling is required. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Now we might want to turn on the oxygen as well, so we'll set that to, if the pressure's below, 450. So what's happening here is this pump is set to if the pressure is above 50 kilos. So once the liquid oxygen gets to that point, as in there's 1 tile of liquid oxygen on the bottom, and it starts to come into 2, then we'll start pumping. We don't want to pump before that because I like having a little bit of a cushion. It helps smooth out the flow. Once it hits 450 kilos in here, it turns off the incoming gas because we don't want to go above 2 tiles. That way I can still get in this door and take care of things. If we check... Oh, what the hell? Oh, steam. Oh, yeah, the hydrogen in here. There was a bit of hydrogen. Yeah, when I cracked that open, the hydrogen, but I should have cracked it in from the top, shouldn't I? You know what? That hydrogen's not going to be a problem. If any hydrogen gets in here, that's fine, because we're going to be putting hydrogen into that place anyway. And I think... Yeah, we're good. Are we? Yeah, I think that's the start of our liquid oxygen production. We'll let that run for a bit anyway. It's going to take a while for it to... the temperature to get low enough. The reason being, there is a lot of mass in here that has to cool down. It's not just the liquid pump. That's a lot of diamond temperature shift plates. Each one of those weighs 800 kilos. It's going to take a while for them all to get cooled down. And then, once that side is done, then I'll fire up the hydrogen. I'm not going to do the hydrogen before then. And for hydrogen, well... I think off screen I'm going to have to run a hydrogen pipe. There's some hydrogen over here I'm going to have to dispose of, but there's also, yeah, all the hydrogen from down here. Yeah, all of this, I'm probably going to have to start nicking off that. So I think I might just grab off this line here and bring that line all the way up to the top of the map. Instead of pulling it off the tank itself, I'll pull it off the input. That should be, well, effectively the same thing. I can put a storage tank up at the top somewhere. So second hydrogen line right up there all the way to the top is the next plan. There we go. Now, I have said this before, and I will say it again and stress it a lot. Having a good priority system just makes getting these projects completed so much simpler. Normally, when you're dealing with these things, if you have bad priority setup, it will take you forever to build anything because your duplicants won't be going around in an efficient order. If you have, I don't need 39 duplicants to get this built this quickly. Well, to get it built exactly this quickly, yes. But even if I had 20 duplicants, I could still build this rather quickly and efficiently. Always sort out your priority system. Make sure you've got it well sorted, and it works out in the long run of getting projects built. Otherwise, I would not even be thinking about running pipes this kind of distance. It would just be far too inefficient. But yeah, I think that's about ready to go. I don't want to fire this one up just yet. I think, yeah, this one's sort of evened out. As you can see, this is barely turning on and off anymore. When this first started up, it was nearly maxing out the steam turbine. When I turned this on, yeah, I'm probably going to end up with something similar, but let's turn it on now. We'll waste a little bit of heat doing it, or a little bit of energy, but I'd rather have these both started. I want to be getting into rockets. Oh, there we go. I want to get into rockets, and that should be... I should have just enough supercoolant in there. If I don't, I can always go get another chunk of it. Boom. Feeding on. Right, now once that's full, we want to deconstruct that. Sometimes that leaves a chunk of dirt in there, and if it does, or a chunk of debris, I am going to sweep it out because I've got that door in place. This door here I've already locked. I don't want anyone going in there just yet. And this one, have I locked it yet? No, I have locked it. Never mind, we will take care of that problem and then get that swept up. Just, it's not 100% necessary, but sometimes it's nice to just have a nice clean build. Once the build is clean, though, yeah, let's just lock those doors and make sure no one goes in that. Also, these doors over here, they're also locked. No one's been allowed in or out. That worked out quite nicely. How's our steam turbine looking? Oh, yeah, that's flat out. What's the temperature in there? Yeah, a little bit warm. Yeah, I'm not going to start the hydrogen in there, not until the supercoolant has chilled out and that room has started to stabilize in temperature, namely because I'm just wasting heat at the moment. Yeah, I'll skip it forward a bit until we're ready to start getting into rockets. This is just about ready to fire up, so we can start flicking the switches. And we'll put you on below, and that should start dumping in the hydrogen, which hopefully should not instantly turn into icicles. Yeah, no, it's spreading out. Perfect. Though I do think we have a little bit of frozen hydrogen down there. Oh, 8.6 milligrams. You know what? That's fine. It's going to take a bit of time for this to stabilize as well. The reason being it's got to cool down all those diamond temperature shift plates in the background. Not going to worry. Checking my times, I've got about... I'm almost up to the 30 minutes of footage mark, which actually feels strange considering the amount of stuff we've got done so far. We've cored out here, we've cored out here, cored out a whole bunch here. Stripped out all the space biomes. I've also planted a bunch of sleet wheat in the background. Most of the sleet wheat is now planted. Put in regolith removal, mining drills, telescopes, scanners, solar, and we've put in liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen. I've been kind of skipping forward past these rather quickly because I've done these all before. These have all been done at least a couple of times. So I just thought I'd skim them by, but we've come up to about the 30-minute mark, and I think next up, yeah, we'll start up the cargo rockets and hopefully start a good haul of resources coming in. I hope you enjoyed everything we got done today because there was a lot. This took many, many, many hours, and good luck.